Alright guys, so today's video is going to be a comparison between the Beats Studio Pros and also the Earfun Wave Pro. Now, I have reviewed both of these separately on the channel, and in fact, the Beats Studio Pros, when I originally reviewed them, they came in at $350, but then I re-reviewed them because they kind of have sat around the $199 price point, which I found to be much more enticing when it came to this pair. But then when I reviewed the Earfun Wave Pro, I found myself kind of seeing a lot of similarities and a lot of comparisons between the two. So I figured, hell, why don't I just do a comparison video between both headphones? And so the Earfun Wave Pro normally comes in retailing at $79. Most of the time it's kind of been sitting around $59. And at the $59 price tag, even with the Beats Studio Pros kind of sitting around the $199 sale price point, you can get 3 pairs of the Earfun Wave Pro before you even buy 1 pair of the Beats Studio Pro. So that's a huge price difference. So I want to talk about some of the similarities, I want to talk about some of the features, and why the inexpensive pair actually has more features than the more expensive pair. And where I want to start with this is the high-res lossless audio that you kind of hear about a lot of headphones and earbuds now. The Beats Studio Pros only has lossless audio if you use the USB-C connection. So you have to actually be wired into something using that USB-C cable to take advantage of lossless audio. Where with the Earfun Wave Pro, you have a wired option, but you also have high-res wireless, having that LDAC playback, which is a huge step forward when it comes to Bluetooth audio quality. If it's not something that you're familiar with, this is the best way to get like CD quality while using your headphones or earbuds wireless. So that's a huge advantage to the Earfun Wave Pro. And another thing is both pairs have multi-point, but the Beats only has multi-point with Android devices, where the Earfun has multi-point with whatever devices. So this is kind of strange, especially considering that Apple owns Beats. Now, I did read somewhere that this is something that is going to be brought to the Beats maybe later within an update. But you know, when they were released, you don't have that multi-point connection option with Apple products, which is strange again, considering that most Apple users are going to gravitate towards buying a Beats product. Now, as far as the looks and the design, this is where I would give the Beats the advantage just based off looks. It kind of has this iconic style to it. You're kind of used to seeing it by now. It's really been the design that they've used for their studio lineup for quite a while. And some people have kind of gotten tired of it to this point, and I kind of fall into this category where the Earfun just looks like a simple branded pair of headphones. It doesn't look like anything special. It's not really made to stand out. It just has a simple silver look to it, where the Beats has several different colors available. The Beats do fold inward to be able to fit into the case, where the Earfun actually folds in and also swivels. Now, another thing that's similar about both is neither one of them have smart sensors. And again, I found this to be very interesting that the Beats does not have them, because there are other Apple products that use smart sensors. The AirPod Pro Max is one of those pairs. And I think Apple did a lot of different things to kind of pull back on the Beats Studio Pros so that it did not actually compete with the AirPod Pro Max. And the Earfun is another pair that does not use smart sensors, so that's something that neither one of these have. Now, the Earfun does have an app, and the app allows you to keep these updated. There are different EQ options, which is very nice to have. The Beats do have EQ options, but again, you only have this when you're using them in that USB-C wired mode. So it kind of at times feels like the Beats Studio Pros are kind of stripped down while using them wireless. You're not able to take advantage of a lot of the features that they're capable of doing. Again, you're only able to do them wired, where the Earfun basically gives you the same features if you're going to use them wired or wireless. And some other features that the app gives you with the Earfun is there is a gaming mode, a low latency mode, so it's great for different types of media. You do have the ability to kind of mess around with some controls. The app is where you turn on your LDAC playback, and if you are in LDAC mode though, it does keep you from being able to use that multi-point feature. Now, this is something that's basically the same thing with any headphone that has LDAC. And then there's different noise canceling modes. Now with the Beats, you basically have noise canceling on, noise canceling off. There's a transparency mode, but with the Earfun, you have different noise canceling modes. You have a normal mode, which is with the noise canceling off. You have your ambient mode. You have a wind noise canceling mode. And then you have comfort noise canceling and strong noise canceling. And the strong noise canceling is where it's comparable with the Beats Studio Pros. I said this before in the Beats Studio Pro review, that I don't feel like the noise canceling is as good as the AirPod Pro Max. Again, this is where I feel like Apple has kind of pulled back on the Beats Studio Pros, but that allows companies like Earfund to be comparable when it comes to noise canceling with the Beats Studio Pros at a much lower price tag. I would say that they're almost similar when you have the Earfund on strong noise canceling. And again, it's nice to have those other noise canceling options if you don't need it like basically at full blast all the time. Now, as far as the battery life, and this is another very interesting advantage when it comes to the Earfund, because if you use these with the noise canceling off and the LDAC off, you can squeeze 80 hours of battery life out of the headphones at around 50% volume. But with the noise canceling on, you're still going to get 55 hours of playback, where with the Beats, you're basically getting half of both of those. So Beats with the noise canceling off, you're gonna get about 40 hours of playback, where with the noise canceling on, you're going to get 24, which is definitely, gonna get everybody through a full workday. It's gonna be where you don't have to charge either one of these very often. And both of these also have fast charge features, where again, the advantage goes to the Earfund. The Earfund on a 10-minute charge will give you 10 hours of use, where with the Beats Studio Pros, a 10-minute charge will get you 4 hours of use. And again, that's doubling and then some when it comes to the Earfund. So the battery life advantage definitely goes to the Earfund. Now, when it comes to the sound, and this is where in my original review of the Earfund, I said that there is so many similarities between the sound when it comes to the Earfund Wave Pro and the Beats Studio Pros. Now, they're both using 40mm drivers. They both have really nice punch to them, and neither one of these are very bass aggressive. It's not adding warmth to the sound. It's not overly boomy, but the bass has a really nice punch to it. The bass is very quick, which means it works great across all genres. I would say if you're somebody that likes a subwoofer type sound, the bass that kind of just, hangs around a little bit, neither one of these actually check that box. And that's surprising because Beats has always been known for their bass, and the original Beats Studio was all bass and nothing else. And so throughout the years, they've kind of refined their sound a little bit, especially since Apple has taken over. You can tell that there's a lot more focus on the mids and the treble. You can definitely hear male and female vocalists very cleanly. The treble has a nice brightness to it without being overly harsh. And again, the Earfund kind of mimics this same sound signature. So it's kind of like it goes for a Harman tuning where everything is kind of boosted on the bass and boosted in the treble, but it's not boosted too much. There's not a whole lot of overly boomy bass, and there's not a sibilant sound to, the S's. It's not overly harsh when it comes to treble, and then the mids are just slightly boosted so that vocalists kind of take a step forward. And so the soundstage and the sound imaging on both of these, they're at their best with the noise canceling off. And I've always kind of felt this because I feel like noise canceling kind of makes you feel a little bit more isolated. So it just kind of takes the air out of the sound a little bit. And so I found them both to be on par with each other, which means with the noise canceling off, I would say that you feel like you're in a very large room. But with the noise canceling on, I would say you're more so in a medium-sized room. But with both pairs, you can definitely tell where different sounds are coming from. And where the advantage may be when it comes to this is the Beats, but it depends on what you're listening to, because the Beats do have spatial audio. So if you're using an Apple device, you can definitely take advantage of this. Now, where I feel like the advantage is when it comes to watching movies, videos, or gaming. Again, I feel like spatial audio when it comes to music, it's just gimmicky. It's just not something that I like to use. And this is kind of the case with any headphone. But with movies, videos, and gaming, it does open things up a little bit more. And it gives you just better awareness because of the technology and the things that it's trying to do. So there is an advantage to the Beats, but again, it just kind of depends on what you're using them on. So my overall opinion is this. There's no real like justifiable reason to go with the Beats if you're just looking from a value standpoint. Now I do feel like their value has gone up quite a bit because you can get the Studio Pros most of the time for $199, and you are getting the spatial audio and you are getting that Beats branding. So if wearing that B on the side of your head means something, you know, it may be worth the price tag for you guys. But from the noise canceling standpoint and from the sound and from the added battery life that you're getting and the additional features that you get because of the app, I gotta say that there's really no reason to at least get both and do an A-B comparison with the Earfun Wave Pro and the Beats Studio Pro. I think you're gonna be really surprised at how similar the noise canceling is and how similar the sound quality is. And it really shouldn't be the case considering the huge price gap. This is what warranted me wanting to do this video, to kind of show you a comparison, and at least with the features, but also talk about the sound and the noise canceling and how similar it is. But again, to show you that brands like Earfun and Soundpeats and other companies like this are definitely bringing a lot to the audio community and not having to bring those overly large price tags. But guys, that's my video on the comparison between the Earfun Wave Pro headphones against the Beats Studio Pro headphones. Thank you so much for checking out this video. Thank you so much for checking out all the other videos. And as always, make sure to stay tuned for more.